Yes, you might notice the actual new name of the podcast, and your eyes are correct. We have a new name. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. A Terrible Podcast. And I'm the host, Michael Watson. And thank you so much for joining me today. Made it to 7 episodes so far. Going strong. Before we proceed, just take some time for me. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Make comments. Share the video if you'd like. Always like your feedback when it comes to these things. So before we proceed, let's just kind of go over today's list. So I mentioned in episode 6, President Biden took office, of course, and he's signing a whole list of executive orders. So I kind of have the whole list broken down by the trustworthy, and I mean this, the trustworthy, CBS News. So we'll go over the actual orders to date and see what overall impact it has currently on the country. And I wouldn't mind kind of shifting gears towards the end when it comes to entertainment. There's a new show on Disney Plus I'm kind of fascinated with. It's called WandaVision. It's set in the Marvel Universe, so you can, if you're not a nerd like myself, you can tune out towards the end of this thing. But I wouldn't mind kind of getting my thoughts on, basically just providing my thoughts about the overall show and kind of where I'm seeing the actual show proceed and maybe the future of Marvel. And then lastly, I'll make a quick note about my St. Louis Blues as well. So let's just jump right in here and start with the executive order. So, as everyone knows, if you've been living under a rock, or you might not know, but we have a new president in the country, and it's Joe Biden. And I was kind of reading this morning and wanting to see what was signed so far, and this is what's annoying about new presidents when it comes to their first days of office now, is that they spend most of the time in the first hours of their presidency actually signing orders, which, you would think that a lot of these items, a lot of these issues would have to be taken care of by Congress, but that's not the case. So President Biden signed a grand total of 15 on Wednesday of this week on this first day in office. So let's go through this entire list, and all these orders kind of basically just reversed what President Trump signed when he took office. So let's start with the COVID-19 response. So I think if you've been watching the news on social media, President Biden has been very vocal about a 100-day masking challenge, where he's calling on all Americans to have a nationwide face mask and social distancing mandate in all federal buildings, federal lands, and federal employees and contractors. It's pretty fascinating that right after he issued this, he was on federal land without a mask. So, strike number 1, Joe. 2, he's going to restructure the federal government coordination to the COVID-19 pandemic. A little bit more information was released about this, where he's going to utilize FEMA a lot when it comes to the actual shipments of vaccines when it comes to the upcoming months. So keep an eye on that. Also, too, he decided to have the United States rejoin the WHO, which is the World Health Organization. This is the same organization that takes millions of dollars from us every single year. Don't get much out of it, to be honest with you. And they were basically sucking up and praising China, who basically started this whole virus. So very interesting to hear about that. And it looks like Dr. Fauci is leading that charge. So that's great. It looks like he also signed, and this is nice too, and this is an extension from President Trump, but he's extended the eviction and foreclosure mandates throughout the country, so that's good on him to actually extend that out. He's also paused student loan payments until September 30th, 2021. And there's a note that the administration wanted to actually present to everyone, was that the president still supports canceling $10,000 of student loans. So this is going to be fascinating to watch, because I think he really wants Congress to be involved in this, and I agree with that assessment. I don't think it should be done over order. I think he's done a great job when it comes to signing and extending these two past points of evictions and also student loans. And again, that's just extending from what President Trump did already. When it comes to the environment, so these are some of the new reversals, I guess you can say, when it comes to the executive orders from the Trump administration. But anyway, the Biden administration has already rejoined the Paris climate change. Again, this whole climate change occurred under President Obama. So that climate agreement will be placed back here in the U.S. This has made news as well. President Biden signed an order that will end the construction of the Keystone Pipeline. And, interesting enough about this is that there's been a lot of blowback when it comes to the actual Canadian response to this. So Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, has actually come out publicly and stated that this is a major disappointment. So that's very interesting because, as you know, Obama and Trudeau were bros. So we'll see how that overall relationship proceeds. The next category is human rights. And this is one new order, is that the administration is advancing racial equality throughout the federal government. And basically claimed that the recent 1776 commission report that was produced by the Trump administration is harmful to Americans. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that order. Counting non-citizens in U.S. Census again. So this is one of the reversals from the Trump administration that the Biden administration has signed off on, is that they will count non-citizens when it comes to the U.S. Census, which I don't get, but okay. And last, when it comes to human rights, the president signed a order that will strengthen workplace discrimination protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. This is a big push from the LGBTQ community when it comes to electing President Biden. So those are the three main human rights orders that he signed. And lastly, the immigration. There were several. One that he signed an order to defend all dreamers. He ended the Muslim travel ban as well. He also changed President Trump's arrest priorities for ICE. He immediately stopped construction of the border wall. And he kept protections for a group of Liberians inside the country as well. And the last several groups are regulation and ethics, freezing last-minute Trump administration regulation actions, ethics formulate executive branch ethics doctrine. So some of them were, just small reversals from the Trump administration, but the big ones were the immigration changes, the human rights, environment, and the COVID-19 response. So basically, my overall impression of this is, first off, it's just an immediate reset from the Trump administration's orders right when he took office, kind of going back towards the Obama timeline and the Obama administration. Something, nothing too new when it comes to the orders, but it looks like it just could be mirroring the actual Obama doctrine and what he signed as president. So those were the breakdown of the 15 executive orders. There's going to be more, so we'll make sure that we cover those at a later date. But one thing that did come up today that I found interesting was that the fracking debate has begun again. So Joe was very vocal, especially in Pennsylvania, on the campaign trail about not banning fracking. So we'll see what the pressures that's within the actual Democratic Party says about that. All right, so leave me your thoughts. What are your concerns? Do you like some of the orders? If you do, let me know which ones. Did Biden not sign enough? I don't know. I think 15 is a lot on the first day with more to come. So we'll see what happens here in the near future. All right, so shifting gears here to the non-political talk. I know some of you like that. Let's turn our focus in on WandaVision. So this is a show on Disney Plus, and by the way, if you don't have Disney Plus, it's an unbelievable purchase. Do it. It has Star Wars, it has Marvel, it has all the old Disney classics, Pixar. It's just been great. Especially if you have kids. So just make note of that because it's great. You can put on anything and have the kids watch it. But so one of the show's new ones that just came out is WandaVision. So Wanda and Vision are two characters that were basically highlighted throughout the actual Avengers and the Marvel movies leading up to the last Avengers movie, Endgame. And the show focuses on Wanda and Vision, and it's set in the 1950s. And if you know anything, and here's some spoilers regarding the last two Avengers movies, Infinity War and Endgame, Vision actually ends up dying in the second to last movie of the Avengers, the Infinity War film, excuse me. So he ends up actually dying in that film at the hands of Thanos, and Wanda, of course, is upset, and this is her love of her life and whatnot. So Wanda is distraught and takes out a lot of her anger on Thanos, but Vision is dead, and he doesn't come back. But this show, strangely enough, is actually set in the 1950s, and it's actually takes part after the Avengers Endgame. So Vision's is in the show, knowing us as fans, knowing that he's actually dead. So it's going to be interesting to see how the show actually incorporates that. My little theory is that I think it's Wanda that's projecting her own reality and the way that she wants her post-Endgame world to look like. And that includes Vision, of course, her love, and that she wants to spend as much time with him, after the events of Endgame. So that's my overall theory. We'll see how it plays out. The next episode, episode 3, will debut tomorrow, which is basically midnight West Coast time here in the United States. And then the first 2 episodes were pretty good. It basically reminded me of a 1950s sitcom, to be honest with you. Great acting. There were some moments where, you can kind of see the overall veil of the actual set reality kind of go away, and it's, there's some parts in both episodes where they're trying to lure Wanda back to reality, and she stays put. So I think it's building up to an end where she's going to recognize that this is all just fake, and she has the power to set her own reality, and Vision's actually gone. So we'll see. It's gonna be emotional, I'm sure, but so far so good. So take a look if you haven't. And I'll wrap it up here with a quick sports note. The Blues ended up losing in overtime to the San Jose Sharks in the 4th game of the season. Losing in a shootout. I thought, a point's a point, 5 points out of the 8 total possible. So I'll take that so far to actually start the season. The team overall is taking way too many penalties, though. So that's a main concern of mine, is that the team is just taking way too many penalties, and they're in the penalty box way too much. I think they took 7 penalties in the second game against the Sharks, which is just absurd. So, but one of the bright spots, was Jordan Pennington in that unbelievable game, so if you're a fan, that's very good to see that he had a really solid game. I know it's a loss, but he played great. So looks like the Kings are coming into town later on this weekend, so there should be a couple games where the Blues can take a couple points. All right, so that's about it. That's episode 7 for you. Like I said, take some time, subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave comments if you'd like. Episode 8 will debut sometime tomorrow, so just be on the lookout for that. And again, I look forward to talking with you soon.